My father was falsely accused of cheating in the imperial examinations, so I went to see Lin Xiaobai 13 times. Not once did I see him. The first time, because his childhood sweetheart was arguing with her husband. He went to pack her belongings and bring her to the capital. The second time, his childhood sweetheart wasn't adjusting well to the climate, so he was busy finding imperial physicians and brewing medicine, with no time to listen to me finish a single sentence. Later, father was sentenced to banishment to Meizhou, to depart in 3 days. Lin Xiaobai finally agreed to see me once. There is no way to reverse your father-in-law's situation. No use overthinking it. The only thing I'm worried about is Wanniang. She just arrived in the capital and doesn't know anyone here, so spend more time talking with her. So my father's life and death was just a trivial matter to him, not worth overthinking. I calmly handed over a divorce agreement. No thanks, let's get divorced. Lin Xiaobai casually glanced at the divorce agreement, then smoothly took it and tore it to pieces, and tossed them away. Meizhou, are you testing me? No one wanted your father-in-law's misfortune to happen. I have no intention of kicking him while he is down, nor will I divorce you. I looked up at Lin Xiaobai, unable to suppress the bitterness in my heart. He knew everything. He knew that failed examination candidates had blocked our carriage to accuse father of cheating in the imperial examinations. Knew that during this time, I'd been running around for father's sake trying to see him, the Vice Minister of Justice, 13 times. He knew I was devastated, that I would harbor resentment toward him because of father's situation. Yet he still stood by and watched. I held back my tears. It is not a test. Lin Xiaobai sighed. He saw the tears glistening in my eyes, but raised his hand to pinch the space between his brows. Is it because of Wanniang? These years have been very hard for her. Her father passed away, and she married the wrong man. No one was there to support her. You've been doted on by both parents since childhood, so you don't understand what that feels like. She and I grew up together, and I'm indebted to her father for raising and teaching me. Meizhou, I can't just ignore her. His tone grew heavier. Almost word by word, I only ask this one thing of you. Ask Lin Xiaobai was someone with a stubborn streak. When he first entered the Hanlin Academy, he offended the Grand Secretary's son, and was assigned to copy books for half a year. Sitting on the bench for half a year. He never asked me for anything, nor did he ask my father. But now, for some countryside childhood sweetheart, he was asking me to keep her company and chat with her more. I shook my head. Father has been demoted. There is so much to arrange before his departure. I'm not in the mood. Lin Xiaobai seemed like he wanted to say more, but in the end he didn't speak. He stepped forward and raised his hand to wipe away my tears. I turned my head away. His fingertips paused in mid-air, forming a loose fist, as if he couldn't bear it, his voice becoming even softer. When the time comes, I'll go with you to see your father off. It is just a demotion, that is all. So many people rise and fall in officialdom. There may well be a day of reinstatement in the future. Don't worry. I froze, my lips trembling for quite a while without managing to squeeze out a single word. Just a demotion, that is all. That is Meizhou, a plague-ridden land. Going there could cost you your life. What do the ups and downs of so many people's official careers have to do with me? I only have one father. Lin Xiaobai didn't notice anything unusual about me. Worried about Wanniang, he came in a hurry and left in a hurry, leaving me with a receding figure growing more distant at least. Between him and me there would be no more when the time comes. I hadn't lied to Lin Xiaobai. Being busy making arrangements for father was true, and so was the divorce. The first urgent matter was to sort out my dowry and sell it for money. First, father was in prison, and with money, at least his food and living conditions could be better, and he'd suffer less. Second, he was about to take up his post in Meizhou. The mountains were distant, and the roads long, all requiring travel expenses. So from early morning, I'd been busy non-stop, checking lists, examining quality, deciding what to keep and what to pawn. And for pawning, what is the minimum price? Dead pawn or live pawn? Except banknotes or silver pieces. How much of each to arrange? Maids and servants went in and out carrying matching tokens. At this critical juncture, Wanniang came. She brought a plate of candied pastries, saying they were a snack from Songjiang Prefecture, Lin Xiaobai's favorite, and she'd made them herself, asking me to try some too. How could I have time? I refused directly. I don't like eating sweets. You should go back. Wanniang's eyes immediately turned red. Her long lashes trembled and trembled. The small mole on her nose tip quivered too, as if she'd suffered a tremendous grievance. Brother Xiaobai said, "If I'm bored being alone, I can come talk to sister." "Does sister not like me?" "Yes." My heart was surprisingly calm, without even a hint of disappointment. The things I care about, he never remembers. Wanniang looked a bit hurt. "Sister, I ignored her because the maids were bringing in the coral tree. This was my most precious dowry, worth a fortune." Father had even joked, "If that Lin Xiaobai kid treats you badly, we'll use the coral tree to smash him to death." His words became prophecy, but the coral tree became Father's life-saving tree instead. For these 3 years, it had been kept in storage. Its luster remained unchanged. I figured it could fetch about 3,000 taels after covering Father's expenses. There'd still be some left over. "Sister, this coral tree is so beautiful. Where are you moving it to? Let me help you." "No need." I hurriedly had someone pull Wanniang away, but she moved too quickly, and as the girl closest to Lin Xiaobai's heart, the maids didn't dare use force on her, so she easily reached out and touched the coral tree. One snap broken. Everything went black before my eyes. I snatched that broken piece of coral tree and slapped Wanniang hard across the face. No brain, and no ears either. When Lin Xiaobai rushed back, he saw Wanniang's tear-streaked face. He embraced her. She trembled helplessly in his arms. "Brother Xiaobai, I didn't know. I really didn't know. I just wanted to help sister. I never expected." Lin Xiaobai served in the Ministry of Justice and had judged countless cases. Just one glance was all it took. What had happened was crystal clear, but at this moment, all he could see was the palm print on Wanniang's face. All he could see was her cheeks swollen high. All he could see were her tears flowing into the depths of his heart. "It is just a coral tree. If it is broken, it is broken." Meizhou. Wanniang came to the capital from a small place. "There are things she doesn't know. You can teach her a few more times. How can you start threatening to beat and kill right away? Is this the upbringing of your Yan family?" I sneered, grabbed a teacup and splashed it at Lin Xiaobai's face. "Awake now. Without the owner's permission, don't touch other people's things. Since when do I need to teach such basic rules?" Lin Xiaobai didn't dodge the tea. His face was covered in tea stains. Wanniang screamed. She hugged Lin Xiaobai and sobbed, "Brother Xiaobai, it is all my fault. Don't fight with sister because of me." Lin Xiaobai gently patted her shoulder. Such a proud man for her sake. He lowered his head to me. "Meizhou." Wanniang acted without thinking. "She is naive. Don't make things difficult for her." "I'll apologize on her behalf." "Apologize, worthless thing. What do I need that for?" I pressed on step by step. "I don't need your apologies. Whether she is naive or not has nothing to do with me." 3,000 taels. "Lin Xiaobai, I want to see that money tonight, or I'll find a way to finish her off." The surprise on Wanniang's face couldn't be hidden at all. "This is a very large sum. An ordinary household's annual expenses wouldn't exceed 10 taels. Lin Xiaobai just became a capital official. Everything costs money, and he is too proud to use my dowry. Year after year his salary flows through his hands like water, can't save even a bit." But he didn't hesitate for long. He spread his cloak to wrap around Wanniang, leaving me with one sentence. "All right." Leaving was even simpler than I imagined. When the dowry, hiring carriages and horses, and taking care of social obligations took half a day in total, and I returned to the residence after handling everything. I saw the maid waiting for me in the courtyard. Lin Xiaobai had the banknotes ready, but didn't come in person. I counted them. Now. Exactly right. I forgot. Lin Xiaobai is no longer that poor Hanlin scholar who just arrived in the capital. He won't specially buy Dongzhu pearls to celebrate with me just because he received a few hundred taels in manuscript fees. He has long since been promoted to Vice Minister of Justice and no longer worries about money. After putting away the banknotes, I returned to my study to write 2 letters, and went to the southeast courtyard. Lin Xiaobai was indeed at Wanniang's place. "Madam, the master has official business to handle and isn't seeing anyone." The maid respectfully blocked my way. Official business. But I clearly heard Wanniang's voice. The courtyard gate wasn't closed tight. Through the gap I saw that unyielding man bend down, cupping Wanniang's face and carefully applying medicine for her. Wanniang wore an apricot-colored outfit, tilting her face up to look at him. A perfect match. "Madam." The maid stood behind me at a loss. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and handed over the 2 letters. Receipt. Have Lin Xiaobai sign it for me as soon as possible so I can have someone send over the coral tree. The maid was illiterate. She didn't know that of the 2 letters I wrote. Only the top one was a receipt, while the bottom one was a divorce agreement, which was delivered as is to Lin Xiaobai. I thought Lin Xiaobai would at least hesitate, but he didn't even look, carelessly picking up the brush, signed and pressed his handprint. This is absolute genius. While he is busy playing doctor with his helpless little sister, Meizhou serves him divorce papers disguised as a receipt. He is so arrogant and dismissive that he signs his own marriage death warrant without even looking. Ladies, this is why we read the fine print. He thought she was just being a compliant wife handling household chores, but she was legalizing her escape. Checkmate. When I received the divorce agreement, I suddenly felt relieved. At 15, at the Chuanglin banquet, a fleeting glance. That is how Lin Xiaobai entered my sight. Father had mentioned to me that his literary talent was brilliant and unrestrained, his essays incisive and penetrating, good for the common people, but not necessarily a good husband. Back then in my youth, I always felt I was the special one, as long as I was good enough, obedient enough. I could always warm this block of ice. But now, 3 years of marriage and misplaced devotion have finally come to an end. Returning to the courtyard, I had people take all the lady portraits Lin Xiaobai had painted of me over the years to the backyard to be burned. The maid didn't understand. Doesn't Madame love these paintings the most? Yes, I loved these paintings. They say the brush is a lover's eyes, and Lin Xiaobai liked to paint me. All 4 seasons sitting, lying down, playing with cats, feeding fish. Back then I thought, look, the dream lover of all those noble ladies has finally become my husband. From now on, we'll paint each other's eyebrows and play music in harmony. But now it is time to wake up from this dream. This thing, better not let it offend her eyes. The painting of beautiful women was half burned when Lin Xiaobai came over. After father was imprisoned, I ran around for him, trying to see Lin Xiaobai 13 times. He never saw me. I'm leaving now. Yet he came, seeing the painting in the flames. Lin Xiaobai was clearly stunned for a moment. Instinctively, he had people bring sand to put out the fire and rescue the half-burned painting. I spoke. No need. Lin Xiaobai clenched his fist, the paper crinkling in his palm. Why, I don't like it anymore. Lin Xiaobai seemed confused, but then his gaze fell on my packed luggage, and he frowned slightly. If you don't like it, forget it. I'll paint you a new one another day. But Meizhou, Wanniang just arrived in the capital. She has no friends around her, and no proper clothes or jewelry for tomorrow's flower viewing banquet. Share a couple of pieces with her. You have plenty already anyway. You're not lacking these few pieces. Lin Xiaobai said this as if it were obvious. Yet it made no sense at all. Before today, I'd never met Wanniang. We weren't close enough to exchange jewelry like sworn sisters, nor did we have any childhood bond. Why should I give my things to her? No. There are plenty of clothing shops and jewelry stores. Why do you have to make me get things for her? Lin Xiaobai's expression darkened. Because Wanniang likes it. Do you know? If it weren't for you, she should have. The words were left unfinished, cut off abruptly. But in that instant, I still guessed what Lin Xiaobai wanted to say. If it weren't for me, Wanniang should have married her childhood sweetheart. She wouldn't have married the wrong person. She could openly and legitimately enjoy everything Lin Xiaobai had. She accompanied him through so much hardship. So why, when he rose to success, was she not Lady Lin? Just Miss Wan. So I picked up the jewelry box and hurled it fiercely at Lin Xiaobai with a crash. Those pearl necklaces, jade bracelets, arm bangles, and hairpins scattered all over the floor. Hold my earrings. The sheer nerve of this man to ask his wife to give her own dowry jewelry to his mistress because she likes it? Sir, are you delusional? This is gaslighting Yao Lin Yao. He really tried to guilt-trip Meizhou for being wealthy while demanding she fund his girlfriend's makeover. I am so glad she threw the box at him. Don't just throw the jewelry. Honey, throw the whole man in the trash. Take them then. Lin Xiaobai looked for a long while. Then he squatted down and slowly picked the jewelry back into the box. The jade bracelet was what he gave me during our first New Year after we got married. When keeping vigil on New Year's Eve, he slipped it onto my wrist and gently said Happy New Year to me, saying this was my New Year's money. The arm bangle was, the hairpin too. These were all things he personally handed to me. He didn't take anything away. His lips moved, but in the end he said nothing. He left with a flick of his sleeves. That night, I tossed and turned, suddenly thinking of the marriage that everyone saw as a match made in heaven. It was nothing more than Lin Xiaobai's forbearance. 3 years ago, when father was the chief examiner and read his examination paper, he struck the table in amazement, declaring frankly that this young man was no ordinary talent. Indeed, during the palace examination, Lin Xiaobai was selected as the top scholar. He was only 19 that year, neither humble nor arrogant, advancing and retreating with proper measure. Dressed in red robes, parading through the streets on horseback, he captivated countless young ladies. Just because my father came up with the first line of a couplet, "Because of lotus, one obtains lotus root," Lin Xiaobai answered, "Having apricot, no need for plum." And thus this marriage was arranged. Having fortune, no need for matchmaker. But this wasn't Lin Xiaobai's true feelings. He always resented me, resented that I relied on my good family background to occupy his wife's position, preventing him from marrying Wanniang. In the past, I always wondered why in Lin Xiaobai's paintings, I only appeared as a back view. On the rare profile, the tip of the nose was stained with ink blots. It wasn't until Wanniang appeared face to face before my eyes that I discovered the wife in Lin Xiaobai's paintings of beautiful women, from beginning to end, was not me. Was her, that is right. How could someone as clever as Lin Xiaobai not know how much I needed him during those days? I'm just a woman, unable to meet those important figures in charge of the criminal department. Silver flowing out like water. I could only take the back chamber route, whispering pillow talk, sending some things to father. But on the day he learned of father's incident, he took leave from the capital and returned to his hometown in Songjiang. Who was in Songjiang? Lin Xiaobai stayed in Songjiang for a month. His robes were soaked by Wanniang's tears. She wasn't doing well that year. When he passed the exam and married a noble lady, she married a scholar with tears in her eyes. He helped her divorce, not hesitating to use his own position and official authority as Vice Minister of Justice. And in the 3 months since father was imprisoned, he hasn't come to see me even once. When I couldn't hold on anymore, I wanted to beg Lin Xiaobai to find a way to let me see father. He is the Vice Minister of Justice. It would only take one word from him, but Lin Xiaobai had just brought Wanniang back to the capital and settled her in the small courtyard in the southeast. She had vomiting and diarrhea, and he couldn't leave her side, staying by her sick. He only had a maid pass along a message. "Wanniang is sick. I can't get away. When I'm free, I'll come find you myself." That day, I waited for a long time, enduring the wind all night. He never came. A 3-courtyard estate. Walking from one end to the other is only a few hundred steps. So why can't I reach the end? It is simply because Lin Xiaobai never intended to walk to my side. The flower viewing banquet was hosted by the wife of the Minister of Justice. She loved flowers, so the minister specially set aside a plot of land in the estate to grow flowers with his wife. Every time the flowers bloomed, she would send out invitations to the noblewomen of the capital to view flowers and drink tea together. By all rights, Wanniang shouldn't have been invited to such a flower-viewing banquet, but she asked. Lin Xiaobai had no choice but to busy himself on her behalf, preparing her clothes and jewelry. He even prepared a set for me. It is the finest Suzhou embroidery fabric. This color and pattern suit Madam's complexion perfectly. You can see the master has you in his heart. Please try it on, Madam. I smiled and shook my head, telling her to just leave it there. Does he really have me in his heart? It is just that he is afraid Wanniang will become a target of public criticism. He feels sorry for her and can't bear to see her suffer even the slightest harm, so he must guard against all gossip in advance. Go back and tell your master that I won't be attending the flower viewing banquet. The maid was stunned. When Lin Xiaobai learned of this, he rushed over in a hurry, his face filled with anger. Yan Mingxu, what kind of tantrum are you throwing? Can't you just get along with Wanniang, you? Their eyes met. He suddenly froze for a moment and swallowed all his unfinished words. Are you sick? No, Lin Xiaobai. My father is leaving for Meizhou today. I need to see him off. So I'm not going to the flower viewing banquet. These past days, he has been worried sick over Wanniang, forgetting about my father's case, forgetting what day it is today, and casting aside his promise to accompany me in seeing my father off. He said, "This is Wanniang's first time attending a banquet. She is timid, so I must accompany her. Meizhou, your father can wait a little longer. After the banquet ends, I'll go with you to see him off. With your father gone, I will become your support. Your future and reputation all rest on me. Don't be afraid." As he spoke, he stepped forward and leaned in, as if to embrace me. I reached out to block Lin Xiaobai. Outside, the maid urged, "Sir, the time is almost here. Miss Wan is waiting." "Wanniang," I nodded. "Go on. She is still waiting for you." Lin Xiaobai breathed a sigh of relief. He promised, "Once Wanniang's matter is settled, I'll head straight to the dock." He turned and left, and I picked up the valuables I had already packed, took the last batch of my dowry, loaded them onto the horse carriage I had rented beforehand, and left the Lin family never to look back. Mother gets terrible seasickness, so we took a horse carriage by land route, first going to Yangzhou, then taking a boat to Meizhou. Along the way, we happened to see the summer scenery of Zhangyan, and father was struck with poetic inspiration. He praised having a virtuous wife on one hand, and boasted about having a filial daughter on the other. In the end, he cursed Lin Xiaobai viciously. "Ungrateful wretch." Mother nodded vigorously. "No wonder his name has Bai in it. Turns out he is an ungrateful wretch reincarnated." Lin Xiaobai had an upright character and an aloof personality. Just because he didn't ask others for help doesn't mean my father wouldn't secretly lend a hand. Otherwise, with so many old Hanlin scholars copying books their whole lives, how did he, Lin Xiaobai, manage to climb out in just 3 years? It is just a pity he wasn't worth it. I always thought father was angry that Lin Xiaobai refused to help, until one day father got drunk and sat on the deck secretly crying. "My Meizhou is so wonderful, how could she be bullied like this? That little bastard, next time I'll crack his skull open." My heart ached. I suddenly realized that perhaps father was regretting that if he hadn't given Lin Xiaobai that couplet challenge at that banquet, we wouldn't have had to go through all this. I snatched away father's wine flask, and together with mother, we helped him into the cabin. "Father, Meizhou has no regrets. Marrying the wrong person isn't our fault. It is just that the person was wrong. With my parents still by my side, whether unmarried or divorced, I'm still the treasured pearl of the Yan family, Yan Meizhou. I will still go on to love others, and will forever be worthy of being loved by others." 3 months later, we finally arrived safely in Meizhou. Father was demoted to serve as an instructor. Before arriving here, we were quite worried, like, is this place rife with miasma, full of snakes, insects, and rodents? Could it be fatal? Or the people of Lingnan are said to be tough and unrefined, reportedly not fond of studying. Would being an instructor be very difficult? But after really getting to Meizhou, we found it is a wonderful place. Though the climate is hot and humid with lots of bugs, the neighbors enthusiastically taught us how to get rid of pests. There are so many fruits we never had in the capital. Most importantly, Meizhou's scholarly atmosphere is impressively robust. In every hamlet of 10 households, there is bound to be a school. Father happily took up his post. Mother and I tidied up the new courtyard together, planting beautiful flowers and delicious fruits, embroidering lovely patterns. Meizhou is a small place, very far from the capital. The patterns we casually embroidered were sought after by the ladies of various households, who often invited us over as guests under the pretext of copying designs. They were always very curious, at first only politely asking about the customs and culture of the capital. Later, once we grew familiar, they also inquired, "How old is Meizhou? Are you married? If you're married, how come we don't see your husband? Why did you come to Meizhou with just your parents?" Romance between men and women is always something that piques curiosity, but I didn't explain the matter of Wanniang clearly to my parents. I just made up some lies to tell outsiders. After my family fell into ruin, my former husband despised poverty and loved wealth, so he threw me out. I had nowhere to go. I had no choice but to return to my parents' side. They sighed with sympathy. Women, most of their lives are not their own to control. Their honor and disgrace are tied on one end to their fathers and brothers, and on the other end held in their husbands' hands. A family's downfall doesn't usually bring disaster to married-off daughters, but some ruthless families would have their wives and daughters die suddenly. The kinder ones could still end up with the decent outcome of shaving their heads to become nuns and cultivating themselves in family temples. Because of this, they became warmer toward my mother and me. Knowing that father had no salary after being demoted, they often invited us over to embroider handkerchiefs and sachets to supplement our household income. Summer melons and fruits, winter charcoal, they would always share some with us. Days passed like this, one after another. Spring left and autumn came again. One day, after attending the coming-of-age ceremony for the county magistrate's youngest daughter, father calculated on his fingers that we'd been in Meizhou for 2 years. I was 21 now. Father suddenly asked, "Meizhou, I'm afraid father will be in Meizhou for the rest of his life, after your parents are gone. What will you do?" With one sentence, he revealed his fear. I looked up at father and realized he had more white hair than when he taught me as a child. His back was more hunched than when he sent me off to marry. Father had grown old. He was both afraid I'd marry the wrong person and live a chaotic, miserable life, and afraid that later on I'd be all alone, unable to make it in the world. I smiled, then let's meet him. I met Chen Chundi. That day I was disheveled and busy transplanting a flower with buds into the soil in the corner of the yard. This flower liked shade and moisture, and couldn't be exposed to too much sun. With my hands covered in dirt, I suddenly stood up and my vision went black. Chen Chundi happened to catch me. As soon as I steadied myself, he immediately let go and stood before me respectfully. His face flushed red all the way to his neck as he explained to me, "I didn't mean to take liberties with you, miss. I just saw you were about to fall and wanted to help. By the way, I'm a student from the county school, and I'm here to ask the teacher to review my essay." "Is he home?" I found it amusing, but still pointed him in the right direction. "In the study." "Thank you, miss." He walked 2 steps away with his essay, then came back and stood before me again. "Miss, my surname is Chen Chundi." At first, I didn't take Chen Chundi seriously. For one thing, his name sounded like a shepherd boy tending cattle, making him seem not too bright, but I couldn't help it. He was such an eager learner, coming to our house every few days. And he had great strength too, tending to the flowers and plants with even more patience than me. Which flowers bloomed in which season, whether they liked shade or sun, whether they were water-tolerant or drought-tolerant. He knew it all. Even a pot of orchids that I had tried to grow for a long time, but failed to keep alive, came back to life in his hands through rebirth. I teased him, flower god. Chen Chundi's face turned red again. No, just call me Chundi, or Xiaochun is fine too. Thinking that he was younger than me, I started calling him Xiaochun. Xiaochun. He also stopped calling me young lady, and started calling me Meizhou. One day he came to my house and happened to run into father introducing a young man for me to meet. The young man who only used to blush suddenly had red eyes in front of me. "Meizhou, I want to marry you. I'm willing to marry into your family too." I rejected him right away. I'm not the kind of girl who likes pretty boys. "Xiaochun, maybe you don't know that I've been divorced before. I know what marriage is like. Meeting these people isn't because I'm eager to get married or looking for someone to rely on. I just want to put father and mother's minds at ease." Chen Chundi caught the key point. "So you won't marry him?" "That is right. Because I agreed to loosen up and meet people. In the past 6 months, father and mother have dragged me to meet quite a few families. Not one worked out. Men are really strange. Obviously deep down they want to climb up the social ladder, yet they have to put on airs of being noble. Without an ounce of real knowledge in their bellies, they still have to show off in front of girls about how learned they are. After learning that father has no hope of being reinstated for the rest of his life, they started putting me down. What is the point?" Chen Chundi became happy again. He had specially brought a flower seedling today. "In the future, can I still come help you grow flowers? In the future, I'm really struggling after rejecting a man. I shouldn't get closer to him and give him hope, but his flower arranging skills are so good." Looking at Chundi's sincere and passionate gaze, even lies become particularly hard to speak. I stand before him. The young man is much taller than me, and I can see his eyes inside them. They hold me, Xiaochun. "In the future, you'll get married. Your wife won't want you to always be planting flowers for others. You should." Chundi interrupts me with a sly smile. "Not necessarily. I didn't agree to Chundi's proposal, nor did I have the heart to refuse him outright. He wasn't discouraged either. Our lives carried on as usual. He came to consult father, came to help me plant flowers, and occasionally casually inquired about my matchmaking prospects, talking badly about them behind their backs. until another year's imperial examination. Several out-of-town candidates set themselves on fire at an inn as a warning. Someone had learned the exam questions in advance, paid them to write the answers, and stole the Jinchi credentials. And this wasn't the first time they'd done it. This case implicated many people. The current emperor thoroughly investigated the imperial examination fraud case. Father was exonerated. Father had already prepared himself to stay in Meizhou until death. Receiving the news left him somewhat dazed. 3 years' time really can change many of a person's habits. For example, we'd grown to love making soup, to love Meizhou's hot and humid weather. The flowers and plants all grew very well. But the letter arrived first, saying that people from the palace would soon come to escort father and mother back. No matter how reluctant, we must say goodbye. Chundi had already composed himself before seeing me. He stood in my little garden, discussing with me which flowers were hardier and could be taken along to the capital. The ones that don't survive well would stay in Meizhou, and he'd help me look after them. Just like now, I looked at him and asked a stupid question. "Xiaochun, aren't you going to ask if I'm willing to stay?" "Huh?" Chundi had never thought about this. He crouched in the flower field and smiled. "No need. Meizhou, you're not from Meizhou to begin with. You came here for Mr. Now that Mr. has passed away, of course you should go back. But can you wait for me 3 years? The imperial examination is held once every 3 years. He didn't need me to stay. He was going to take the exam and go to the capital. Just as I was about to speak, a familiar male voice suddenly came from behind me. "Meizhou," I turned around, very surprised. I really hadn't expected Lin Xiaobai would come looking for me. Someone like him, shouldn't he? After I left, sneer coldly at my failure to appreciate his favor, and then hold Wanniang and tell her that my leaving had nothing to do with her, and then happily get married. It wasn't until he strode forward, grabbed my wrist, and yanked me backward that I snapped back to reality. I pulled my hand back and bowed politely. "Lord Lin, the sun and moon are supreme and bright. Husband and wife are closest yet most distant." 3 years unseen, Lin Xiaobai had changed greatly. He was no longer aloof and unfeeling, but rather like cold tea, his temperament more complex and murky, probably from hitting walls in officialdom, suffering hardships, and going through ups and downs before brewing into this. But that has nothing to do with me anymore. I pointed him in the right direction. "Father is in the study." Then I introduced to Chundi. "This is Lord Lin from the capital. He should be here to see my dad about something." "What you just said." Lin Xiaobai interrupted me. "Meizhou, there is already an imperial envoy at your father's place. This time I came for you. 3 years ago, I waited for you at the dock all night, but you left the capital without a word. Later I found out you tricked me into signing the divorce agreement." "The divorce wasn't my intention," I said in confusion. Lin Xiaobai saying these things, don't you find it laughable yourself? Was it because of Wanniang? You clearly know that I lost both parents at a young age, and was raised by Wanniang's father out of his kindness. When her father passed away, I had no choice but to take responsibility. Just because I was distracted taking care of Wanniang when your father got into trouble, you divorced me? What kind of logic is that? I looked straight at Lin Xiaobai and spoke calmly. "Yes, you had your difficulties, because Wanniang is your childhood sweetheart. Her father was kind to you. So everything about her is more important than me, more important than my dad. So you could abandon me when my dad was falsely accused, drop everything in the capital, and go pick up her Samanu who already had conflicts with her husband. So you could take care of her when she couldn't adapt to the climate, while I desperately needed help and waited all night for nothing. Just because I married you, it is as if I'm naturally beneath her. You always make me yield, make me step back. But why should I, Lin Xiaobai? I don't owe you anything. And I owe her even less." After 3 years in Meizhou, I've thought through many things. In the past, I always really hated Wanniang, hated her for getting between Lin Xiaobai and me, hated how nothing happened to her earlier or later. But something just had to happen to her right when my father had his incident. Hated how she was always more important than me to Lin Xiaobai. Later I finally realized the one I should hate is Lin Xiaobai. If he hadn't given Wanniang hope time and time again, she wouldn't have been so afraid of losing him, wouldn't have regretted marrying someone else. He made her harbor endless delusions. In an instant, Lin Xiaobai's face turned extremely pale. His lips moved, wanting to explain. "Meizhou, I only see her as a younger sister. nothing more than a brother's care for his sister. I came to bring you back. 3 years ago, you resented me for abandoning your father without looking back. This time, I personally helped him get vindicated. Can you come back to me? Can we start over? I laughed out loud. Lin Xiaobai, this is what you should do as Vice Minister of Justice, not for me. If you really can't let go, just consider me your younger sister too. Either way, I could never marry you again. I smiled cheerfully, my heart without the slightest ripple. So this is what it is like to let go of someone. You won't be happy because of him. Won't be sad because of him. Not even hate remains. He is just like some random person on the street. I turned around and told Chundi to come keep me company digging up flowers tomorrow. A very soft sound came from behind. I'm sorry. When Lin Xiaobai arrived, the Meizhou official circles were shaken, and many people were inquiring about him, not including Chundi. He helped me organize the flower seedlings, much more silent than usual. When Chundi didn't speak, I held back too. In the end, he couldn't hold it in. Meizhou, do you think I'm useless? With Lin Xiaobai being such a paragon before him, studying so well, having heard he even passed the imperial examination as the top scholar, and everyone praising his match with Meizhou, so that is why she never agreed to him, and he still asked for someone to wait 3 years for him. Under the moonlight, I found Chundi so adorable. Leaned forward, stood on tiptoe, kissed his forehead. Of course not. Someone who likes you will only think you're good in every way. I didn't expect that this scene was fully captured by Lin Xiaobai's eyes. Best revenge, ever. There is nothing more satisfying than being genuinely happy in front of the ex who thought you'd be miserable without him. She didn't kiss the younger, sweeter Chundi to make Lin jealous. She did it because Chundi actually values her. Lin Xiaobai standing there watching her love someone else. That is the karma delivery service arriving right on time. She traded a cold statue for a warm sun, and we loved to see it before he could speak. I said first, Lin Xiaobai, you have no right to control me, and no right to boss around my life. Think carefully before speaking whether I want to hear it or not. He pressed his lips together. Meizhou, is there really no possibility left between us? Yes, Lin Xiaobai smiled bitterly for a long while, then suddenly said, you never treated me like this before. I thought for a long time before realizing that perhaps he meant kissing him the way I kissed Chundi. Actually, there had been times, many times, I wanted to rush into his arms, wanted to stand on tiptoe to kiss his chin, wanted to act coquettish with him, but back then, Lin Xiaobai had just entered the Hanlin Academy and would always push me away coldly. However, none of this matters anymore now. Is that so? I wish you'll meet a girl who suits you perfectly in the future. I should head back now. Excuse me. I lost my patience, walked past Lin Xiaobai, just like he used to do, leaving behind a view of my back. Father picked an auspicious day to set off on the return journey to the capital. When going south from the capital to Meizhou, it was just 3 to 5 trunks, light carriage and simple boat. When going north from Meizhou back to the capital, it was boxes of all sizes filling the entire boat. Fortunately, the house that was confiscated when we were demoted was returned to us after our exoneration. Father sent a letter early on to an old friend asking him to help take care of it. After disembarking, everything was moved directly back home. Nothing had changed at home. Even my boudoir was still the same as before I got married. I stood in the courtyard. How wonderful. After returning to the capital, invitations to banquets came fluttering in like snowflakes. But I didn't go. I had to tend to my flowers. Father specifically instructed his old friend in his letter to leave me open ground for planting flowers. From Meizhou to the capital, the climate and soil are different, so I couldn't rush into transplanting. Had to check the soil first. The courtyard had been unoccupied for too long. The soil was no good. Had to loosen it properly, then change the fertilizer and nurture it for a few days. This involved conditioning the soil quality. After bustling about for nearly half a month, I finally had time to go out. I randomly picked an invitation, and it turned out to be from the Minister of Justice's family on the day of the banquet. I brought a pot of beautiful gladiolus to their door. The minister's wife's eyes lit up. She smiled so wide she couldn't close her mouth. Oh my, such a difficult flower to raise, and you've grown it so well. I happen to have a pot of orchids that have bloomed too. Come help me take a look. I followed her to look at the flowers, listening to her talk about Lin Xiaobai. That is when I learned that when I left the capital years ago, I owed her a flower-viewing banquet. That time, Lin Xiaobai accompanied Wanniang to the feast, but Wanniang wasn't welcomed. Her background was too lowly, and she couldn't find common ground with the ladies. They said she was Lin Xiaobai's relative, but Madame Lin wasn't her. Therefore, that day Wanniang tried several times to seek Lin Xiaobai's help, but Lin Xiaobai, having heard something or other, knocked over a teacup. He didn't acknowledge Wanniang, left her to be taken home by a maid, and galloped off on his horse himself. Lord Lin searched for you at the dock all night, and only believed you had left after seeing with his own eyes the divorce agreement he'd signed. He fell gravely ill, didn't attend court for half a month, and was said to be going to find you. But that sister of his in his household kept making a fuss with him for a long time, making a scene about wanting to marry him. He said that in this lifetime he would only have Yan Meizhou as his wife and would never remarry. You see, he does have you in his heart. The Minister of Justice was Lin Xiaobai's direct superior, so it was perfectly normal for the minister's wife to speak on his behalf. I didn't argue back, just smiled. Madam, the orchid has some root suffocation, just water it less. If the roots rot, even the greatest immortal couldn't save it. On the way back to the estate after the banquet that day, Wanniang stopped my carriage. She wasn't doing well. This didn't refer to her food, clothing, or expenses. Lin Xiaobai never shortchanged anyone when it came to money. Her complexion was poor, with worry written between her brows. It is the look of someone who has never been treated kindly by life. Miss Yan, may I have a word with you? Just a few words. I thought that between her and me, there was never really anything to say from start to finish. If not for Lin Xiaobai, perhaps we would never have crossed paths in this lifetime. No need, I have no interest in you people. But Wanniang spread her arms to block the carriage. She ran over and clung to the carriage window, tears falling in large drops. But I really don't know what to do anymore. Miss Yan, in the capital, I don't know anyone except you. I have so much to say but don't know who to tell. I might be dying soon. I can't sleep night after night. Every time I dream, it is of you. Since you left, Brother Xiaobai refuses to see me. I really don't know what to do anymore. Wanniang spoke incoherently. I thought about it. Coming to the capital from a small place, she was like a drowning person, and the only driftwood she could cling to was Lin Xiaobai, seeing that I hadn't moved. She continued, Actually, those things weren't my true intentions. I was just too scared. I could only do it that way. I was afraid Brother Xiaobai wouldn't love me, afraid he would abandon me too. I'm sorry. It was my fault in the past. Sister, please teach me. What should I do? I handed her a handkerchief. If you want to ask me how to make Lin Xiaobai marry you, I don't know. If you're willing to hear something else, you could go take a look at Chang'an Street. Life is short when you think about it. You don't need to tie yourself to a man. Wanniang froze and lowered her arms. The carriage rumbled past her. Through the carriage curtain, I saw her crouch down and hug herself. Such a tiny figure. It was a long time before I saw Wanniang again. By then she had already opened a pastry shop on Chang'an Street, specializing in Songjiang crisp candy, along with some other Songjiang specialties. Making food was really hard work, but Wanniang wasn't afraid of hard work. She was very good at these things. Busy and bustling, yet her face carried a smile. That day she didn't see me. I had someone buy a dish of crisp candy. The pastry I'd missed all those years ago was before me once more, sweet, just like our life after father returned to the capital. One could say he was favored by the emperor, rising rapidly through the ranks. But having gone through the ordeal of being demoted, he had less attachment to climbing the ranks. The only scheme he ever pulled was to promote in name, demote in reality, by sending Lin Xiaobai away to Yuanzhou. That place was far, far from the capital. If he couldn't produce results there, he'd never get back to the capital in this lifetime. Lin Xiaobai had no complaints. Before he left, he returned the coral tree to the Yan Manor, saying it was part of my dowry to begin with, so now it was back where it belonged. I don't know what method he used. He'd glued back the broken branch. From afar it looked intact. Up close, though, you could see the crack. Father stood before the coral tree with his hands behind his back and sighed. Do you regret it? No. Well, father regrets it. If I'd known, I should have cracked his skull open before he left. Now it is too late. I held father's arm and smiled. Late is just late, because with the right person, it'll always be just right. Another imperial examination session began, and Father wisely didn't serve as an examiner. I tended to the flowers and plants in the garden, waiting for that young man who promised our 3-year agreement to come to the capital. In the distance, there seemed to be some commotion. I looked up. The young man had grown into a youth. He came running, with a long shadow behind him. "I'm here, Meizhou." Extra story. From Lin Xiaobai's perspective, Lin Xiaobai's life rose and fell in the sea of officialdom. He became the top scholar at 19, was sent out to Yuanzhou at 26, starting as a county magistrate and working his way up to prefect and governor. His achievements were remarkable. The year he returned to the capital, he was already 40. His appearance still carried an elegant and refined air, with a commanding presence in his features like mountains and seas. Yet he didn't even have a woman to attend to his daily needs. Duke He, former Minister of Justice, asked him over drinks. "Still thinking about her? Is she really that good? Must it be her?" They all knew who he was talking about. In his most desperate year, Lin Xiaobai had even asked Madame He to mediate. Yes, Lin Xiaobai answered without hesitation. Once upon a time, he didn't know what was so good about Meizhou either. When they first married, she had many habits he couldn't stand. That is right. She came from a good family, had never suffered, and was raised with a pampered temper. She loved to laugh. But how could there be so many good things in the world to make her laugh like that? Was it just because she had a good father? This marriage was misaligned from the very beginning. Lin Xiaobai looked up at her. There was an insurmountable chasm between them. He wanted to love her properly, but couldn't get past the thorn in his heart. Wild horses rampaged through his mind, each one clamoring, why? Why was she so good? Why could she easily obtain things he couldn't touch no matter how hard he tried? Lin Xiaobai was this strange, this unlikable. He did things he knew full well would hurt her. Yes, he did it on purpose. He despicably wanted to pull her down from her perch this way, so she'd no longer be a lofty, noble lady, so she'd be as lowly as him, so her honor and disgrace for life would depend only on him. So when his father-in-law was imprisoned, Lin Xiaobai's first reaction was relief. Her support was gone. He brought Wanniang back at the first opportunity, conveniently avoiding Meizhou, letting her suffer a bit, tempering her character, making her learn to bow her head too. He thought he had married Meizhou only because he was forced by power and influence. The one he grew up with was Wanniang. He desperately compensated Wanniang. He justified it as repaying a debt. But there was a more hidden reason. In his view, Wanniang and he were the same kind of people. They could never hold their heads up in front of Meizhou, but nothing that followed went according to his control. Only then did he discover he was wrong. What he wanted wasn't her bowing her head at all. What he wanted was for her to love him. Lin Xiaobai had only mistaken bowing one's head for love. He recalled when they were newlyweds. They too had been deeply in love. Her back was narrow and slender, and she loved tinkering with all sorts of strange and exotic foods in the small kitchen. He would lean against the doorway, watching her with a smile. It truly was the best time of his life. Later, as Lin Xiaobai's official position grew higher and higher, all women looked up at him the way Wanniang did, but he felt no stirring in his heart. He only felt disgusted. He couldn't let go of Meizhou, and even after leaving the capital, he kept inquiring about her. He knew she had married Chen Chundi. He knew Chen was just a minor recommended man who had no interest in officialdom. The couple both loved growing flowers and traveling. They journeyed everywhere and actually compiled a book called Records of Rare Flowers. It recorded in detail every type of flower, what it looked like, what season it bloomed, its characteristics, and how to cultivate it. When Lin Xiaobai got hold of the book, a few words popped into his mind. She is doing well, only she would never belong to him again. His heart felt empty, and he could never fill that void. From far away came the sound of gongs and drums, a festive clamor. Simonin was getting married. The groom sat atop a tall horse, his face beaming with smiles. In this life, if he could start over. Okay, ladies, let's have a heart-to-heart. Lin Xiaobai is the classic example of a man who confuses control with love. He thought Meizhou would wait forever in that cold, empty house while he played savior to his childhood sweetheart. He treated her silence as submission, not realizing she was slowly packing her bags, both physically and emotionally. The most beautiful part of this story isn't just that she left. It is that she didn't look back. When he finally came crawling back with his regrets, and his "I'm sorries," she didn't melt. She laughed. Because once you realize your self-worth, an ex's begging just sounds like background noise. And can we talk about Chundi proof that sometimes Mr. Right arrives a little later and might be a little younger. He didn't care about status or power. He just wanted to help her grow her flowers. Ladies, find yourself a man who looks at you the way Chundi looks at Meizhou. Like you are the rarest bloom in the garden. I need to hear your thoughts in the comments. The work husband. Do you believe Lin Xiaobai really only saw Wanniang as a sister? Or was he emotionally cheating the whole time? The age gap. How do we feel about Meizhou ending up with a younger man? Is it a scandalous upgrade or the perfect match? The X factor. Have you ever had an ex come back years later, thinking you were still waiting? How did you handle it? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more ancient tea time. Stay fabulous and know your worth.